Have you ever felt someone sitting very close, but your heart feels distant? Not because of anger, not because of hate, but because the warmth is slowly fading. This isn't a story about a big mistake. This is a story about the little things that are often overlooked. About unspoken words. About forgotten attention. About a heart that longs to be heard. In the long journey of life, many couples walk together for decades, but over time, distance can appear silently. And often we ask ourselves, what really changed? This video invites you to look at relationships in a gentler light. Not to blame, not to judge, but to understand, and perhaps to rekindle. We'll talk about listening with the heart, accompanying without words, appreciating the simple things, and choosing each other every day. Small things, but meaningful. If you're at an age of experience, this video is made to accompany your quiet time. With a warm story, light language, and a message that's easy to relate to. Because lasting love doesn't need a lot of voices. It only needs a sincere presence. Take a moment. Listen with your heart. And rediscover the meaning of togetherness you may have once felt. This story isn't about a perfect past, but about a present that can still be cherished. Have you ever felt someone is right in front of you, but your heart feels alone? Imagine two people who have been together for decades. They share a home, share a dinner table, share memories, but one day, one of them says to themselves, "I speak, but I'm never truly heard." Today, we're going to discuss something gentle, yet profound. Not to blame, not to open old wounds, but to understand, and perhaps, to repair something that can still be repaired. Before we go any further, if you enjoy quiet life stories that accompany your downtime, and help you see relationships in a warmer light, please support this channel by clicking like and subscribing. That way, we can continue sharing stories, reflections, and life inspiration for this age of wisdom. This topic is important because in long-term relationships, distance often arises not because of big fights, but because of small things that go unnoticed. And one thing we need to understand together. Hate here isn't about being angry every day. Often, it's about a feeling of closeness that's slowly fading. A fading warmth. And a feeling of, I'm not as important as I used to be. And the first reason that most often arises is feeling unheard. Feeling unheard is a silent wound. It doesn't bleed. It doesn't make any noise, but it slowly weakens the relationship. Imagine an old clock. Each second ticks slowly. A second goes unnoticed. But years later, that clock has accompanied so much time that never comes back. That's how a wife feels, who speaks, but isn't heard. A wife tells about her day, about her body getting tired more quickly, about changing feelings, about the little things that make her sad. The husband might be there. He hears her voice, but his eyes are glued to the screen. His mind is elsewhere. There's no ill will. There's no resentment. Just a recurring absence. And each time, a wife's heart says quietly, "Turns out my story isn't important." Many men think, once I've talked, that's it. The problem's solved. Yet for many women, talking is a way for the heart to breathe. It's not about wanting to be fixed. It's not about wanting to be given a solution. Sometimes they just want to be heard, accompanied by a warm drink and a caring silence. Not being heard doesn't mean not being loved, but rather feeling ignored. And this feeling of being ignored, if prolonged, can turn into emotional distance. This emotional distance is often mistaken for hatred. Imagine a garden. If it's watered every day, even a little, the garden remains alive. But if the watering stops, the plants won't die today. Not tomorrow, but slowly. The colors fade, the leaves wilt. Not because they're not beautiful, but because of a lack of attention. Relationships are the same. In old age, we don't need long words. Often, all we need is a genuine presence, listening without interrupting, listening without judging, listening without feeling right. Because listening is the simplest yet most powerful form of love. If you are a husband today, remember, your wife probably doesn't demand perfection. She just wants to feel like her voice still matters. And if you are a wife, remember also, sometimes our partners don't know we feel unheard. A gentle silence can be the beginning of a new conversation. A lasting relationship isn't about who is right, but who is still present. And presence always starts with one small thing: listening. Next, we'll discuss a feeling that often comes silently. It's not abandonment. It's not rejection. It's feeling alone. Have you ever been in a room with someone you know very well, but your heart feels empty? It's like sitting next to each other on the same bench, but not touching each other emotionally. This is one reason why many wives slowly begin to drift apart. Many people think, as long as their partner is still at home, still coming home every day, still going about their routine together, then everything is fine. But for many wives, physical presence doesn't always mean emotional presence, and this is where loneliness begins to grow. Reason 2. Feeling alone even while together. Imagine a large ship sailing on a calm sea. From the outside, the ship looks sturdy, complete, intact, but inside the cabin, someone sits alone, looking out the window, waiting for someone to greet her. That's how a wife feels, who feels alone, even though her husband is nearby. They eat together, watch the same screen, sleep in the same place. But conversations become shorter, touching becomes less frequent, attention becomes thinner. It's not because they don't care. Often it's because they're used to it, and unchecked habits slowly turn into distance. Sometimes a husband says, "We're fine, there's no problem." But for his wife, the problem is, there's no more conversation about feelings. It's like watching a movie together, but never discussing the story. Being alone doesn't mean being alone. Being alone is when the heart is unaccompanied. And loneliness can arise, even in a house full of people. This feeling, if it persists for too long, makes a wife lose hope. And when hope stops, the closeness fades. Imagine a fireplace. The wood is still there. The fire once burned, but without tending, it waned. Not because the wood was bad, but because it wasn't given enough attention. Relationships are the same. It's not about big mistakes. Often it's about small things that we stop doing. The good news is, loneliness doesn't always mean the end. Sometimes, one honest conversation can open a long closed door. One gentle touch. One simple question. How are you feeling lately? That question may seem small, but it can warm a long cold heart. At this age of experience, we no longer need many words. We need a genuine presence. Slow time. Real attention. Because true togetherness isn't about how often we're together, but how deeply we're present to each other. Loneliness is the language of the heart asking for company. And being there doesn't always require a lot of effort. Sometimes it just takes the intention to be truly present. Next, we'll discuss something that seems small, but has a huge impact. It's not about money. It's not about expensive gifts. It's not about beautiful words every day. It's about one simple feeling, being appreciated. Have you ever given a lot, but felt like you were never truly seen? That's where, slowly, warmth can turn into distance. Many people think, as long as basic needs are met, as long as the house stands, as long as life goes on, then gratitude is enough. But for many wives, appreciation isn't about material things. It's about recognition. Recognition that she matters. That her efforts are seen. That her presence isn't taken for granted. Reason 3. Feeling unappreciated. Imagine an old watch. It's not a luxury watch, but it's been a loyal companion for years. It works silently. It tells the time accurately. It never demands attention. But one day, the clock was simply put away, never to be seen again. Not because it was broken, but because it was always there. That's how many wives feel, who feel unappreciated. She wakes up early, taking care of many small things that often go unnoticed. Maintaining the rhythm of the home, maintaining comfort, maintaining the atmosphere, but rarely are there the words. Thank you. Your efforts matter. I appreciate you. And when appreciation is never expressed, The heart begins to ask, am I still important? Someone jokingly says, isn't this your job? In fact, no task is tireless if done without appreciation. Even machines need maintenance, let alone the human heart. To be appreciated is not to be pampered, to be appreciated is to be recognized. And simple acknowledgement can strengthen a long-lasting relationship. When a wife feels unappreciated, she doesn't always get angry. Often, she simply withdraws, and the distance grows without her realizing it. Imagine a lamp at night. The light is soft, it's not blinding. Only when the lamp goes out do we realize how important it is. Appreciation should be given before darkness falls. The good news is, appreciation doesn't require much effort. One sincere sentence, one smile, one small acknowledgement. Thank you for being my companion. A simple sentence. Yet it can warm a long-standing relationship. In our mature years, we have learned that what is most remembered isn't the big things, but the way someone makes us feel important. Appreciation is a love language that never grows old. Long-lasting relationships don't last because of habit, but because of a feeling of being appreciated, and appreciation always begins with small things said sincerely. Next, we will discuss a feeling that often arises slowly, silently, without arguments. It's not because love is truly gone. It's because the heart feels no longer chosen. Have you ever felt like you're not the most important thing, just what's left at the end of the day? That's where many hearts begin to quietly close their doors. As we get older, life does become simpler. But ironically, in that simplicity, attention often gets diverted. Routines, habits, activities that feel safe. And slowly, the wife who was once the center of attention feels like she's moved to the back row. Reason 4. Feeling no longer a priority. Imagine a favorite chair at home. Always there. Always comfortable. Because it's always there. It's rarely noticed. One day, it's replaced. Only then do we realize how valuable that old chair was. That's how many wives feel when they're no longer a priority. Time together becomes shorter. Conversations become less frequent. Attention is given only when there's a problem. Not because they don't care, but because they assume he'll understand. In fact, no heart can last forever without attention. Some say casually, we've been together for so long, we don't need to be like before. In fact, love, like an old plant, requires gentle care. To stay alive, being a priority doesn't mean always being number one. Being a priority means being remembered, and being remembered means being appreciated. When these feelings disappear, a wife doesn't always complain. Often, she simply stops hoping. Imagine an old song that used to be played often. It's not because the song is bad, but because it's heard so often, it's rarely played anymore. But when the song comes back, the heart immediately remembers how beautiful the melody was. Love is like that too. The good news is, it's never too late to make someone a priority again. One dedicated time, one undivided attention, one uninterrupted moment. Little things that show, you're still important to me. As we mature, we stop chasing things. We pursue a warm, calm relationship, and choosing each other every day. Being a priority isn't about a long time, but about clear intentions. These 4 reasons aren't meant to scare you. They're meant to remind you. Not being heard, feeling alone, not being appreciated, no longer being a priority. These don't happen suddenly. They grow slowly, in silence. But the good news is, what grows slowly can be healed with genuine attention. A long-term relationship isn't about a perfect past, but about a present that's still a choice. And as long as the intention remains, there's always a way to get closer. May our hearts always be warm, and our relationships always be nurtured with awareness. Before we truly part today, let one simple question touch your heart. If today were the last day you could have a heart-to-heart talk with someone you've walked with all this time, what would you say? This question isn't meant to make you sad. It's meant to remind us how precious the time we have left is. All of us watching this are people who have come a long way in life. We've been through youth, busy times, and struggling times. And now, at an age of wisdom, we're no longer seeking speed, nor proof. We're seeking serenity, warmth, and a connection that feels close to the heart. The 4 things we're reflecting on together aren't about who's wrong. They're not about opening old wounds. They're about understanding each other more tenderly. Not being heard, feeling alone, not being appreciated, not being a priority. None of this happened overnight. It grew slowly, silently, amidst seemingly ordinary routines. But the good news is, the little things we often take for granted can actually be a bridge to getting closer, at this age. We don't need major changes. We just need sincere intentions. Listening longer, looking into each other's eyes more often, saying thank you sincerely, because lasting love doesn't last because of habit, but because of awareness. If you're watching this with memories, remember, as long as the heart is open, there's always room for new warmth. And if you're watching this with a soft smile, be grateful. It's a sign that your heart is still alive, still able to feel, still able to love. Life doesn't ask us to be perfect. Life only asks us to be sincerely present. And a good relationship isn't about a past without mistakes, but about a present that can still be chosen with tenderness. If this message touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Please hit like so more people can find the same peace. Share this video with someone you care about. Subscribe to this channel to accompany your quiet time with warm messages of life. Don't forget to activate the notification bell, so you don't miss the next moment of reflection. And if you'd like, write a simple sentence in the comments section. What little thing do you want to nurture in your relationship today? Thank you for taking the time, for opening your heart, and for walking together until the end. May your day be filled with peace, and may your relationship always be nurtured with tender love.